At this time yesterday, you could find Ace Bailey plus 240 to go in the top 5 and plus 240 to go 6th overall to the Wizards. Good luck finding him to go for plus money in the top 5 now. It's minus 180 at a lot of places and dropping. And look, I'm 51 years old. I've been covering professional sports and in locker rooms and talking to general managers and dealing with agents since I was around 19 years old. That's a long time. I covered NHL drafts. I've covered MLB drafts. I've covered a lot of NFL drafts. And you just kind of learn to develop spidey senses and you learn to develop instincts. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm an NBA insider or college basketball information insider. I'm not. But there's some I trust and others I don't. And I think I have a pretty discerning eye. And I consume a lot and I filter a lot. And I filter it through my internal bullshit meter. And this Ace Bailey stuff reached a level to where I was telling Ben like a week ago, dude, this is not passing my sniff test. Like when more of these odds populate, I'm going to be on Ace Bailey because this feels almost too contrived. It feels too over the top. And frankly, I kind of think in some quarters, it was the NBA media trying to like coming off the Shedeur Sanders thing and like, oh my God, that story had legs before the draft, through the draft. It was the biggest story all 3 days of the draft. And now it's still kind of a huge story. Like, I just feel like that fueled a little bit of Ace Bailey. The kid got terrible advice. The kid's agent seems to be in way over his head and not have an understanding of how to manage the messaging and develop relationships and couch things the right way. He's definitely turned a lot of people off. He's also a top 3, top 4 at worst talent in this draft, and talent rules all. And this kid was not getting suspended left and right at Rutgers, right? We bet a lot of college basketball games. There was a lot of funky line movement and weird lines throughout that season because kids were getting disciplined we didn't know about. There were kids who were involved in betting scandals we didn't know about, and it was craziness all over. Not with Rutgers. Made a lot of money on Rutgers. You kind of knew what you were going to get with Rutgers. Like, I just don't buy it, Beltway Ben. So, yeah, I thought all along he's going top 5. Someone will trade up. If he gets past 4, somebody's going to trade to 5 and go get him. And I still think that's going to happen. But there's no value in that anymore. So if he does slip, you're telling me he gets past the Wizards? Like, I just don't buy it. I don't. How could they, where they are in their rebuild and where they keep getting effed in these lotteries? You're telling me that they're going to let a top 3 potential talent in this draft with a rebuild that's still years away get by them? For who? Why? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't buy it. Now, again, I don't think he'll be there. I think he's going in the top 5. I've always thought he's going in the top 5. The stuff we were hearing about him, the negatives, were not nearly negative enough for me to think that the talent won't trump all. What do you think?
Quite honestly, first off, before I get into my details, I mean, if you guys heard the conversation we were having yesterday, I mean, Jason was pretty loud. Like, it was a very good conversation about this doesn't make sense. He's going to go top 5. Well, 12 hours later, we see the drastic odds movement, and it's crazy Jason was saying it. But I would like it to be known, if Bailey somehow falls to the Wizards, this will be a second straight year where a player's forced their way to a certain spot. Jason, 25 to 30 minutes away from my house, will hear me celebrating because I keep telling everybody the Wizards are on the come up. But in all reality, I personally have stayed away. And Jason did make the point, the NBA media. There are people that watch the NBA, that just watch 7 games finals, who were just today finding out the drafts tomorrow. Quite honestly, this is not a joke. I see it all over social media. How are we seeing the NBA draft go this way? And again, someone like myself who follows very closely, it crept up on you, and it's just so weird how quick it developed, and now we're already there. So nobody's really been talking about it much. But the one thing that they have been talking about is this right here. Ace Bailey. You haven't talked about number 1. Everybody knows Flag's going number 1. You haven't talked about Harper. Ace Bailey has been the topic, and it's good for the NBA. Everybody wants to see who's going to trade up to try to get him. How is it going to go? I've decided I'm not in. I don't want to risk because I just don't know what to believe. However, to Jason's point about his talent and how, you know what we did see about him at Rutgers, that he was sick on the bench in a game. Like that was when he was held out. It wasn't because he had an attitude. It wasn't because he was sick on the bench. Quite honestly, I think he has the highest upside in this draft. And it might sound crazy. He might have the highest upside in this draft. I mean, he's an elite shooter, from anywhere on the court. He's got great size. He can play above the rim. He's played great defense. He's going to have to put more weight on in the NBA. But, like, this is a guy that a year and a half ago, we're discussing who is it going to be number one and who's it going to be number two between him and Flag. That was a long discussion. He goes to Rutgers, and he had some of those games, right? He put up, 35, 40 points? He had some of those games where it's like, that's why you take him number one. But then he also had games where he scored 6 points. And you have to understand, in college, this kid is 19 years old. That will happen. Like, those types of things will happen. I don't understand why the agent, whose son, Sharif Cooper, was involved in the draft just a few years ago. I don't know why he's playing it the way he is. I know he wants to go somewhere where Ace is going to shoot the ball out. Washington, we'll welcome you. But, like, it's a weird situation. I do side with Jason that a guy with his talent falling out of the top 5, that's not a normal thing. And it's weird to think that it's possible. But if it does happen, like Jason said, there is no possible way, and I mean this. If he gets through 5, the Wizards are at 6. They will be drafting him. And if they don't, you can hear it now, my fandom will be done. If Ace Bailey is available at 6 and the Wizards pass on him, it's quite possible. Like, is it possible? Maybe. I don't see how it happens. Ace Bailey, I talked about the upside, right? You're not finding guys like him. And the Wizards, who you just mentioned, get screwed every single year in the lottery, and they get him a chance at 6. I personally think they trade up, or the Jazz trade up, or the Nets. Somebody tries to trade up and get him. That's what my guess is. But if he gets to 6, I mean, again, at the whole house, it's going to be a big party.
Look, up until the trade deadline last year, they were letting Poole and Kuzma run around and do whatever the hell they want and shoot from wherever. You're not going to let a 19-year-old wunderkind do that with upside who can grow with your young core? So anyway, but I think he's going top 5.